Good evening, good evening. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Let's make sure I got everything turned off and turned on that should be turned on. I literally just got down here like 5 minutes ago, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Hopefully everything is going well with everybody. Yeah, I know I didn't push out any posts for the show until like the last hour or two. Do apologize for that. I usually try to get those early. Lately, I haven't had much time to do anything. We've had some really interesting developments here on our end. Things are like moving in the right direction, at least work and business wise. Hopefully, as well, everybody else is having some decent sales coming back in. Now, had things been a little different, I would have posted a comment. For those who were slow around Easter, it's been that way for the last 11 years. So don't panic. Again, I tell everybody keep track of sales, and people just bombed me with a bunch of, hey, sales have dropped off and this and that. It happens every year around Easter. People are spending time with family. They're not buying. They're not shopping. They're spending time with grandkids and stuff like that. So I always expect it possibly on the holidays. Now, I wasn't down, but it was just like stagnant. It was pretty much straight all across those days. Usually the weekend I might get a little tick. I didn't. Now this week's a different story. We've been selling stuff pretty much left and right. I've talked about another site here, and they've actually reached out to me. The head of content just reached out to me from HIP with some interesting conversation. I've talked about HIP for those who've been in Patreon or even on here for quite some time, probably a year or more. My sales on HIP, and I was going to talk about this regardless of them contact me. This is nothing to do with them contacting me. Just I was really surprised that head of content reached out. But the point is that the site, since they've added the new ability to cross-list more items from eBay, the sales have just been coming in, and I've been really quite surprised. It's like an average of 50 plus every single day now, which is, for that kind of site, is pretty darn good for it. And we've had days, 100 plus, selling $40 and $50 items on there now with the added categories. It's like a golden age now, I guess, with the platform, because they're actually were able to do something that, I've actually talked to somebody there about doing a year ago, and they finally got it rolling, apparently. So there might be more things coming from that. I'm really motivated by a lot of the stuff that's going on. Today's conversation is motivation. Maybe I don't look it, but inside I'm like beaming because there's a lot of stuff going on. There'll be some big announcements coming up probably in another month or so. I've signed another contract, a few other things going on too, but I've been really digging into stuff here. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I don't hear anybody saying there's no sound. Hang on a second. I'll get to some names in just a minute. I do see quite a few people in here. For those in Patreon, just reiterate, tomorrow is the live show. I've had a couple questions posted regarding that last postcard video, and I'm going to go into depth in the beginning of that, and I think that would be very explanatory for the few folks who did ask these questions on my thoughts and what was listed regarding stuff that I showed in that video. So if you want to go in depth, that's the video for those in Patreon. Again, tomorrow at 6. Contest-wise, you already know, everybody in Patreon, check the post out. Get your number assigned for that one. Video for here, I've been pushing off one from a European toy company for a little while now. But I think I'll probably put that one up tomorrow. And then the second video for the patrons for the postcard half will either be up Sunday, late Sunday, or early Monday. I haven't figured out which with my schedule for that day. I've got a few things going on this weekend in relation to businesses that we've got and stuff like that too. Now, you'll see a few different things. I do have a brand new, I know it's been a while, but I have another video done for the art professor. It will be up, and it's going to go into actually getting the stuff ordered and who I deal with, who prints for us, and you'll see the in fact, I recorded me ordering the frog space, the astronaut frog postcard. So you'll see me going through that aspect of it, as well as another Halloween postcard. We're going to have, I think, 20 postcards printed, I think in the next 2 months, I'll have them all in-house by then, printed and ready to go. But we've got something different planned for this year, for some other marketing ideas, and I'm going to be going into that too, on marketing some of your items art-wise if you create on your own, or photography and things like that on the platforms like Amazon and stuff, because we've been decently successful with the little bit we've done on other platforms, on stuff like that too. Conversation today. Let's get into motivation, and then I'll hop into names. I know I long-winded sometimes, so I just want to get to content. Or maybe I should hit everybody up here first, as my feed actually disappears if I don't hit it up at a certain time. DJH went to a small post house in the neighborhood. A fella brought in many boxes and sold items, and all I brought in was 2. The amount of boxes means nothing. He may have made $2 a box. So don't ever compare yourself to somebody else bringing in a bunch of boxes. I've seen people bring a whole bunch of boxes and they only made a couple $100. So to me, they spent way more time in boxing all that stuff up for a smaller return on their investment than you may have gotten for your 2 items that you took there. I have pickups locally, so if I had a bunch of boxes, I'd never waste my time in the first place driving to the post office, truthfully. They pick up every day. I always have well enough to meet the minimum of 3, I think is what it is, on there. Obviously, if you don't, that's a different story. I do understand that. You can adjust your pickup times too, like every 3 days or something, and mail them out that way. You could adjust your shipment times if you so wish, or you're unable to get to the post office or something too. Just FYI, I had somebody ask me that question actually once before. Anyway, Nicole Tracy just came back from a second largest paper haul bulk purchase. Very satisfied, very excited. I am always excited when I run into something really cool. That's motivation to me, I guess. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff in here I got in this past week. Seen some patches. You've seen some of the other stuff in the past I got, but I got some really neat stuff coming in this week. Some exciting stuff to me. You'll get to see some. You're going to get to see some military items that we were very privileged to have the opportunity to pick. Sometimes family members may contact me from relatives who have passed occasionally around here, or people who know who I am locally, and I'll get a call sometimes from acquaintance who knows who I am and stuff like that. And sometimes I'm lucky enough to go pick something from a direct person who owns stuff, and that's what I got coming in. Well, I've got most of it in now, but you'll get to see some fairly interesting items here that I actually have, and we'll talk about prices on military items coming up here too. Some personal military items, uniform pieces, all of that sort of thing. I'm sure you've seen some of the uniforms and pieces I've had in the past. I've got uniform pieces that date back to the Civil War in-house right this minute, and I've shown some, so it's not like a fantasy thing like I see on some other channels. But anyway, Jiminy Flip It, how are you doing, Marty? Hopefully you're doing well. I think I just hit you back on Patreon as well. Nat Rummageopedia. I think I got that. My vision isn't so great sometimes. I've even blown everything up and it's still kind of hard to see. Hello as well. Lou 13 Lair 505. Good evening, good evening. Paul Cara Flipping and Collecting. Welcome, welcome. Retrohead. Hello back at you. Butis Sounds. Yes, I am in the house now. Rose Smith. Welcome, Rose. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing? Yeah, it's Thursday again. That time's been flying this past couple weeks here. I've got a lot of stuff going on. I gave up sugar. I don't know. I know this isn't really related to reselling in general, but I gave up sugar, and I can't sleep very much now. I don't have that crash at night, so I only sleep like 5 hours, and I'm not tired. It's really weird. For me, it's really weird because I've eaten sugar for God knows how long, and I'm more jittery now than I was when I was eating all the sugar. But I feel so much better. I'm totally pumped and psyched. I mean, I'm not trying to push dietary or anything on anybody, but it's surprising to me considering how much sugar I used to eat. I've actually lost some weight, and I feel so much better. I honestly have to say, strange as that sounds. I had breakfast of, soft-boiled eggs, V8, and some fruit. That's literally what I ate this morning. But anyway, no more cereal. I love cereal. Unfortunately, can't do that. Let's see here. I'm going to get to the names, and we'll go back to some slamming on motivation, because honestly, everything comes down to motivation for most people. Every almost every video I put up these days, I get at least one or two people, and you can look yourself, that say, I'm quitting, I'm done with eBay, I'm done with this and that. So, I think at this point, I don't know, motivation-wise or lack of interest or eBay throwing too many obstacles in everybody's way and adding just too constant change is annoying to many people. I'm fine with it because I like trying to figure it out if they change something, trying to keep on going. But constant change can be annoying, especially if you're new and you got one setup. Like, let's say you started with eBay and you're on PayPal, and now you've only been on eBay for a few months and you're forced into managed payments, and then they do a rollout. Now the rollout adds all these other things you got to do that you never did the months before. It all adds up, and I hear that so frequently at these days. And I'm serious, like almost every single video someone makes that sort of comment on it, that they've had it with this and that. I don't hear those comments on any of their platforms, which is very concerning to me. I was talking with somebody who made, George, I won't call any last names, but made a comment about eBay did make more money this past year than the year before. eBay didn't do it. The pandemic did. eBay, if you take off the pandemic, it's going to be down again. I mean, again, I'm not here to dog on eBay. We're here for motivation, but I understand why people lose motivation and lose the will to keep doing this. To many people, a regular paycheck is more reassuring and comfortable than not knowing when something's coming in, or not knowing if you'll be able to figure out what eBay's changed or what's going on, whatever site you're on. It doesn't matter what site you're on. So there's a lot more to it than just that aspect of it, I guess. Motivation wise, for me, is never working for somebody again. And I've said this so many times. As long as you don't mind hard work, working really hard in long hours to start with, you're going to do okay with whatever you do, in my opinion. As long as you're willing to put it in. If you mess up something, you just keep trying till you figure it out. I mean, that's my take on it. I don't care if I'm told no 100 times. I'm going to ask 101 if that's what it takes. It doesn't deter me. It's a business. I'm not taking it personal if somebody turns me down, or I don't sell something, or I don't do this, or I don't do that. I look at it as, it's business. They're not turning me down. They're turning down whatever the business aspect is at the time. So, I mean, I wouldn't be anywhere if the first time somebody turned me down, I just quit on it. So again, motivation is what you make of it as well, too. Having goals, having a reason to do this, I guess, is a big plus. I know most people out there watch a ton of people's videos out here on how to do this and trying to get bolos or whatever you may do. My only thought on that, I don't have time to do it anymore. I don't watch hardly anything at all, TV or anything, is everybody out there isn't always going to give you the best advice. They're going to give you advice that may help them per se or something like that. Take everything, even some people complain about stuff I say, take it with a grain of salt though. What I see is the biggest misleading aspect of the videos that people point me or say this or say that is what a lot of the people say. If you just sell this or sell that, or 20 of these, 30 of those, 50 of that, you're going to make this much money no matter what. It just doesn't work that way. There's no easy ride in this type of business unless you've got some inside secret that I've never seen or no one else knows about. It just doesn't work that way. I've worked, started at the bottom rung and worked myself up from scratch, from zero, from nowhere, so I know personally the amount of effort it put into it. I can say though that I earned every dime I got, and I hopefully for anybody out there who's able to do that, I can't tell you how good that feels as a person to know that you've earned it. You earned every dime. You figured every step of the way out, and you've earned it. You're not just working and showing up at a job and working your 9-to-5 job, and they pay you whatever they want to pay you and tell you what to do. You've got to do it all. So I'm always, happy and impressed when anybody can make enough to make a living or something like that from this. I can tell you one thing, the first time you're able to buy like a car from money you earn from doing this, you're going to be, ecstatic. I can promise you. Because, you're walking in, we walk in with cash is always the best. I don't buy new cars, so, I don't have to, worry about that. I would never do a payment if I didn't have to, just personally me. But I can't, even if it's a cheap car, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 car, paying with it from money that you earn from scratch is a huge motivation for most people that I know. it's a big boost in your morale, your mentality to see your hard work come to something. You got the car you always wanted. You moved into a bigger house. You bought a warehouse. Somebody else is commenting on building a shed earlier today. Whatever it takes, that's all stuff that's an advancement. It's something that you would have never thought of that you could do from reselling. In my book, I never thought this was possible. Again, this is our 11th year full time. Again, we've been on eBay since day one, since they've been called eBay that first year. So 25 years. We were on Yahoo auctions back in the day, but it's all been hard work. Nothing has been given to us. The 11 years it's taken us to get here, 11 years. And for a lot of people, after a couple years of being rough on, living rough and stuff and not having a ton of extra money, they give up, but I've worked some pretty horrid jobs. As I know many people out there, including a couple people I see in the feed right now, have told me some of the jobs they've done, probably just as bad as some of the nasty jobs that I've had to do with the places I've worked at. You're at the whim of your employer. And all of that's made me lose time with my family, my loved ones and stuff, because you can't just leave. You can't, even if something's emergency going on, you can't just drop what you're doing in places that I've worked, and all of that's given me more motivation. Every little step of the way, even when it was me and the wife eating ramen noodles and the kids eating all the good food for the first little while when we didn't have income other than what we could make off eBay directly, and we were living, item to item for quite some time. I learned how much hard work it is, and I've learned to respect what I do, and I feel good about it. I feel good that I've been able to turn my financial life around, from doing this, nothing more than what everybody else is doing, nothing more than I talk about in every one of my videos. Whatever you sell, whatever your business is, it's your business. You don't have to pattern yourself on somebody else. There is no surefire, straight shot way to figure this out. You're going to have to dig in, and it's just going to take a lot of work. For me, it's motivation, and I hear people say, "Well, you put in so many hours. How can that be fun?" and stuff like that. It honestly and sincerely, I don't know how to express it any other way, but to tell you the truth, it doesn't feel like work. It's like I'm in my hobby room all the time or something, or I'm looking at all this stock and inventory of cool stuff that I always thought was cool before I started selling it. But I wouldn't buy it. It wasn't mine. I wasn't interested enough that much into it. But nowadays, it's just a constant flow of neat stuff, neat things. Every day is different. I know people say, well, you're listing everything every day, same, you're just listing, doing this, going, buying. But every item I list is different. Every item has some unique or historical aspect to it that, I learned something. I learned something from a lot of the stuff I sell. I learned, certain last names in certain cities sell better than other last names. Because a lot of the stuff I sell is based on, a business name, a last name. A lot of stuff sells like that. But that's just stuff you learn by doing this. Again, motivation, everybody's got to draw their own form of motivation. Getting in the groove is hard for some people too. Just trying to figure out, how to get that motivational oomph right there when you first get up, when you don't want to list a whole bunch of clothes or whatever you're trying to list. For me, I just jam out. I just crank the music way up. I actually have one of the laptops we can plug. In fact, it's sitting over here. I got a cord I can plug it into a surround sound, and I just crank it. If everybody else isn't up, I'm so far away from everybody they wouldn't even hear it anyway. But music rocks my day in the morning. If I need some motivation, it's just turn on something that I like, and off I go. Natural One was the first thing I listened to this morning. Somebody will probably know it's from Kids, the movie Kids, but Natural One is one of my songs I've always liked too. Anyway, let's move on. I know I'm rambling again. Let's see who else is here. I don't want to miss anybody. Paul Carl, Flipping and Collectibles. Easter was kind of busy for me. I was surprised how much random stuff sold on Sunday. It can go either way, though. It depends on what you sell. With some items, people are just sitting around in the holidays. They may be at relative's house and, their kids are watching a movie or something. They be searching on their phone. That's why a lot of the play on the weekends, most of the sales or a large chunk of somebody's sales may come from phone purchases. So there's all types of aspects. But overall, the amount of people that said that they were weighed down this past holiday was quite high. So most people probably saw some sort of dip. Not everybody, ours was just level. I didn't lose, I didn't gain. It just was like the day before. We pretty much can set our watch by sales. Every day it's a given amount almost, and that's how it's easy to do projections that way too. So you can see where you'll be at the end of the month starting on day one. Are you a collector? Good evening. I missed Bob. I'm sorry, Bob. How are you doing, Bob? I did respond to that suggestion, and I probably will use that. Just FYI, you might check your email. I probably won't get back to him today. I've been on email all day today, going back and forth over a few things going on. But are you a collector? Good evening as well. Ellen Dean, welcome, welcome. Love HIP, but they still have limitations with the advertising category. They said eBay's ad category is too large to import them all. Shame. I'm going to be talking with them, as I said. I've already responded. With selling some of the stuff that I sell, there's certain markets that are good and there's certain markets that are not good. Macari, whatever you want to pronounce it, Poshmark and things like that, don't do well for these types of vintage items. It just there isn't the big market for it there. Just like if I was selling on like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace for the kind of things that I sell, I would have to sell them in lots and almost give them away to make any decent money. Now, larger size items on sites like that, I always do very well with. We sold some podiums and some other things real recently. I was lucky enough to acquire some podiums not too long ago, and I picked up a few other ones. They're Victorian era, real nice ones from some churches around here. Yeah, I'm gonna keep thought on that, Marty, too, and I might bring that up and see. RV Butterfly Wholesale and Thrifting, good evening as well. Mr. Hot Wheels, how are you doing? Hey, Chuck, great to watch you again. Thanks for well, thank you very kindly. Hey, Annie, how are you doing? What are all the categories in HIP these days? I'm going to try and get a list on those together. Now, they don't all import. You can list things that you can't import. See, you can download a CSV file from HIP of your solds. So I've got a list of questions if we get on that conversation that I want to ask about that. Again, I make good money on eBay. Don't get me wrong, but the more sites, the more places your inventory is at. And easily at, like with HIP, there's nothing to it. You just click a button, it's all over there, and they take care of pretty much all the rest of it. You got to pull your sales and stuff and, compile them yourself. But I just bring them in a CSV file and then auto sum total bottom of the form, and then everything's imported and it's all done. And anyway, it's an easy process once you understand and have done it a few times. But HIP has HIP comics, HIP postcards, and HIP stamps, all categories that I mess with. It's good. These sorts of sites, in my opinion, are good, especially when they're newer sites. And HIP's been around for a while, so it's not really newer, but they're getting some name recognition. Like Poshmark, they're growing as well. Like Macari, it's growing as well, and they've added some other things. And it's those sorts of sites that can make you some decent money. So if I sell $1,000 on HIP a month, to some people that's all they're selling on eBay. To me, it's extra change, and it's $12,000 a year. If I do that with 3 sites, that's $36,000. It may only sound like $1,000 or $250 a week, which most people couldn't live on, but you add it all up. It's building up a bunch of different revenue streams to a combined total at the end. When I do a lot of stuff, I'm talking about it from my point of view. So sometimes it's a little confusing to some people. When I'm talking about what we're selling, I don't just sell it on eBay. So when I might give a total or something, it's from multiple possible sites that the item could have sold on. And I don't look at everything from just an eBay standpoint. I got HIP into there, Etsy, you got Amazon, Walmart, Discogs, and a couple other little sites that I get stuff on too. I don't mind doing one little function that I do, say 20, 30 minutes a month that I may get an extra $100 on. Every little bit helps. Extra $100 once a month, which is $1,200 a year. That's rent. That might be bills for somebody for your entire month. So who cares if it's $50 a month extra? If it's every month, that's $600. $150 a month. I mean, you can play the game all you want. Just look at the money that could come in from adding one little tiny revenue stream, one more here, one more there. A lot of people, and somebody I know who is a true, honest millionaire, made a good chunk of his change from little tiny incremental sales on smaller things, and it all added up in the end. And he was able to integrate it all into one platform, like a Shopify, and from there he could just push everything out with just a couple of buttons. And, little sale here, little sale there. At the end of the day, though, it all adds up to make the big whole total number. You may not make enough on any site ever to make enough to live on, but altogether, yeah, it's a different story. You don't have to make all your money on one site. eBay is less than half of our revenue from these revenue streams. Didn't used to be that way. eBay was 100% of our revenue at one point, but things do change. I'm not being loyal to a site. It's more a business decision. If I make more money somewhere else, what are you going to do? I mean, your goal is to separate yourself from your business, because you're one entity at home and you're one entity when you're working. And if my business can make a little more money by doing this or doing that, that's what my job is to do, is to maximize my profits, maximize the revenue, get as lower cost of goods sold as I can, lower the COGS down, and make as much money as I can, as long as I'm ethically running it and not violating any rules and keeping up with IRS guidelines. We've got an accountant and all that stuff. As long as you're doing the right thing, you've got, you're on the right track, I guess I should say. I know I'm rambling. Let's go back to some comments if anybody has any questions. Let's see, where am I at? Hey, Mike, how are you doing? Thank you very kindly, Mike. I think I popped you an email out too this morning or sometime today, if I'm not mistaken. I sent out like 100 emails, more than I usually do. Patrick Ko, how are you doing? Thank you. Yeah, I should be looking farther before I start talking. I know there's a few times when the sound wasn't working correct, right, and I didn't realize it right away. I'm terrible on stuff like that. I just get into the content. Thanks, Mr. Hot Wheels, as well. Just in time flippins, thank you. Welcome as well. Black Crystal Dice, good evening, good evening. Mike's Messy Room. Well, thank you very kindly. Thanks, Mike. Ralph Funk, how are you doing? Great to be with you again. Motivation and listing seem to go hand in hand. I don't mind listing. I like listing something cool, I don't like to keep going back to the buttons, but I like the buttons. So anytime I get a chance to list some new buttons, I get to look the history up of stuff real quick. I get to see ages on them. Some of it I have got to do research, and I honestly like the research aspect of it. I like finding something. Half the fun is finding it out in the wild for me. Finding some rare collectible out at some sale somewhere. That's fun. Even though I don't get to do it very much these days, that's fun. The other part is getting home, doing enough research to find out that, hey, this thing's worth a lot of money, or it's something really historical. That's cool. That's motivation to me. It gives me a big boost when hey, wow, this is worth $200 or $100 or $50. I paid $1 for it. A lot of my stuff that I pay or I buy is only spend $1 or $2 on, literally. And there's just so much in these types of items that you can get that cheap that it's crazy. It's literally crazy, the amount of stuff that I can literally walk off from a sale that no one else wanted, that everybody else there just walked by and didn't pay any attention to. I don't go to the sales in the first day. I haven't been to a sale in I don't know how long. Months on end. I very rarely go anywhere like that anymore. I don't need to. Everything's targeted these days. A little lonely doing that. It's not as much fun, obviously, but targeting wise, I get what I want and only what I want. I don't have to mess with any of the BS, and I'm almost guaranteed if I go and everything's set up, I'm going to get what I want. I don't have to drive around randomly hoping to find something. In my city, most of the thrift stores have closed down. Sabres are done. The other stores, there's only one or two that even has remotely decent items, and if I'm lucky, I can find 2 or 3 things. Garage sales are been non-existent for over a year, and those are like couponers, where they've got massive couponers and they've selling brand new items for $1 or $2 for bottles of soap and stuff. A lot of that stuff going around. Or there are other resellers who have been setting them up, selling their stuff that they can't sell, acting like they're just out of an estate and they have no idea what they're worth. I've seen that one a few times, but there's just not a big option for stuff like that. Auctions are good, flea markets are good when there is a flea market. So The little things have been better for us, and the targeting has been 100% what's been driving what comes in our business in general. I mean, I can show you the same things I get constantly. I can show you things that I like, the military stuff. That was some. I'll show you the military stuff. Let's just leave it at that. I think some people will be pretty excited and like to see some of that stuff. Got a nice little assortment of helmets, which I always like helmets. That's one of my things that I've always been into. Really nice uniform pieces too. Again, you gotta like some of the things. You've gotta like them enough to research them enough so you can be dangerous in that field. Most of the stuff that I sell, if I go somewhere and I'm sourcing, I'm pretty dangerous. If I walk past the stuff that I sell, it's probably not worth anything in all honesty, or I'm not willing to go down to items that are less than $10 most of the time. I'm gonna snatch it up. I love cherry picking a sale or a show, a flea market, any of that stuff. I love cherry picking it. Just going in there, getting all the good stuff, and then leaving. I can do that on day 3, the last day of an estate sale too, because far too many people think most of what I sell is junk, which is fine. I'm happy about that actually. Let's move on. Hey Aaron, how are you doing? I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while, Aaron. Hopefully you're doing well also. Jay Padron, how are you doing? Have you ever sold through Depop or Citizen before? No, I don't mess with a lot. I don't mess with anything. I think Depop and that other one is a phone app, if I'm not mistaken. I don't do anything on the phone for listing. It's a nuisance to even buy anything half the time, the way eBay's app is on some of that. I tried to buy something for my son. It was a Remington micro titanium, whatever, the razor. And I recorded it, so you'll get to see it. I'm going to put it in a video, but I spent all day trying to purchase. It was the only vendor selling it. Every time I tried to purchase it with PayPal through the purchaser's managed payments, it wouldn't work. Every time it said it was a PayPal issue. Now, I know it wasn't a PayPal issue. I went to PayPal, logged instantly. I bought a label off PayPal. I went to 2 other sites and bought 2 other things that I had in my boxes already and paid with PayPal. It's eBay. If you're not selling things, you'll see it. It took me. I ended up just stopping the record because it was like an hour of me trying to get this thing to purchase. Every single way I could imagine, I tried to purchase it, and every time it blamed it all on PayPal. Which again, how can it be PayPal when I can purchase from other sites? It just doesn't make any sense. I've heard that from many people, that they're not selling things, or a buyer hit them up and said they couldn't pay for the item. I've seen it. I recorded it. I'm not going to not play that. I want everybody to know that can happen, because eBay acts like it doesn't happen. And I saw it myself for something I wanted. No other option to buy it anywhere else. And Amazon it wasn't on either, unless I wanted to spend twice. Well, it was almost 3 times as much. If anybody has the triple shaver razors, electric shavers, it's for my son. But those blades are expensive. I've made money on those too. If you ever see those unopened, NOS only is what I buy in those. Yeah, I know I'm rambling again. Well, thank you, RV Butterfly. Tyler Donovan, good evening as well. Carl the Lazy Reseller, welcome. Let me slide down just a hair. Wainwright, how are you doing? First time reseller. I have a lot of vintage buttons and costume jewelry. Do you have any advice? eBay is the best place to look them up. Depends on the buttons, what type of buttons you have as well. Military, you'll need a book. If they're U.S. military, I would recommend Alberts to start with. Rufius Alberts, I think is his full name. Uniform Buttons of the United States Military, something like that. It's a blue cover book. I've got it right there, actually. I live by that book. If you're into buttons. Costume jewelry, there's like 20 different books. I wouldn't personally mess with a book. I would spend my time looking over some of the sites for specialty things. There's a site for almost any type of costume jewelry that only handles that. There's a Hollycroft site, Napier, you name it, there's one for it. Eisner Weiss. I think every one that I can think of, I could find most of the best information online without buying a book for it. Now, again, like buttons, you need a book. There's some things that you'd never be able to get all the information otherwise, because it just doesn't exist online. The items that I think that you can make the most money on are stuff like that. like buttons, for example. It's a smaller market than you would think you could make money on, but there's enough people out there. There's just not a lot of information for you to find without investing into the category. I got like $1,500 in books alone that I have to be able to mess in buttons. I'm just telling you, there's investment in some of these niches. Once you know them, though, you don't have to go back and figure the stuff out. That's the big bonus on it. Once I figured out what this looks like or that looks like, you always remember, hopefully. At least that's me. I don't know everybody else, but that's always been me. eBay, though, is the best place. The best resource, I would say, probably, is the net itself. Just find a collector's club for whatever jewelry pieces you have. Rhinestones, various multicolored bright stones that have individually been set with prongs are always the best. Rivets, if it has rivets, it's usually older, usually better, well made. It's made in multiple pieces. I actually recorded a video. It's been a long time. I don't think I've ever even posted it. Still probably sitting in my I've got a bunch of videos I recorded I've never actually posted. But I took apart a couple pieces of costume jewelry to show the amount of pieces that were involved to make this one tiny little pin. I think the one pin that I did the video on had like 62 pieces or something like that. And it was all handmade. I mean, some of the pieces are just phenomenal. Once you can figure out that, you can do incredibly well. Flip in Ohio, how are you doing? Another Ohioan, huh? Susan Galicchio, do you ever get concert patches? Yeah, I got concert patches. I would rather have the little tiny concert pins. Those seem to sell better, like the little enamel pins. Most of the ones that I run into are 80s heavy metal or like Genesis or the Police. 80s stuff is usually what I'm nabbing up the most. That's what I find around here. Most of my, the people I hung around with back then still have their stuff, and I'm able sometimes to buy that kind of stuff. I bought a whole a vintage jean jacket just loaded with, didn't have many patches, but it was mostly pins. The thing must have weighed 5 pounds extra, maybe more, maybe 10 pounds extra just in pins. It was heavy. And I remember them wearing that back in the 80s when I hung out with them. We all had the long hair and all that stuff, but, heavy metal days back then, I guess. Concert stuff in general is good, I can tell you for sure. Squirrel Thrift, how you doing? Hey, Daryl, Carolina Picks in the house. Hopefully you're doing well. I think I responded to. I think you had something in there too. I answered so many today. I'm not sure if it was this time or last time I dropped you a note on something. I think you had something up there today. Maybe you had something posted. I know Aaron had something. I've got 3 Aarons that I talked to. Rose Smith. I've been getting great military uniforms, gas masks, glasses, shells. Are great, but need directions. You're welcome. I don't know if you're a Patreon. I look at stuff. It's about the only place. Other than that, I would recommend you going to eBay to look up what you have. Most U.S. military items will have like an M, a model, or a contract number on it. And most of those have a date. There'll be like a 2-digit number at the end. That's usually the date or year code that the contract was in there. I actually got a book. There's a couple of books that have like major contracts. So if it's like a major company or it's like shirts, it'll tell you who did it and stuff like that. Those are usually the most helpful. I actually have a Star Wars guidebook like that, and it tells every licensee that Star Wars dealt with. Every single one. So if George Lucas, he was dealing most of the stuff. He held the rights. If he dealt a deal with a contract, even for one little item in another country, it's in this book. It's like one of the best things that I find are the books that list contracts for stuff like that. I love those sorts of things. They're very nice to find. I've spent some money on some, though, but they're well worth it in my book. Joe Samard, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Gina, always a VIP. Welcome as well. Sandra Baldwin, welcome. Kentucky, been through there a million times. I wish I had the willpower to stop my sugar intake. I didn't have much of a choice, so if you don't have a choice, it's always best because then you do what you got to do, So anyway, I feel so much better. I'm like wired all the time now. Somebody would think I was on something, but I'm more hyped up now off the sugar than when I was on it. I mean, obviously you get the crash and then you're tired, and The only thing I don't sleep much anymore. I didn't sleep much before, but I really don't sleep much now. But I'm not tired. I don't feel tired at all. I hate to say that's weird. Let's see. I wish I had. Okay, I got that one. CC Ryder. Hello, everyone. Love Thursday because thank you very kindly. Empty Nesting 2, aka Maria. How are you doing? Yeah, take it at your own pace and cutting sugar out. I just did it. I'm either let's just end it and be done with it immediately and be done. I don't like to drag stuff out. Um, I guess I got willpower on some things, but Squirrel Thrift, have you talked at all about the new tax guidelines starting next year or heard about this? Anything beyond 600 I'm hearing, but it's early. There's always been a $600 threshold on that. If you made less than $600, you didn't have to do it. Whatever they're going to do, I don't really care. I got an accountant. If you don't have an accountant, my recommendation is wait till they come into effect. Call around to one of most accountants, or at least there'll be some in every city, that will offer initial consultation for free. Get all your questions together, call one of those up, get your questions answered from a certified accountant for free. If you like what they tell you, hopefully you'll be respectful and use them as your service. An accountant is not that expensive a month. You'll be surprised. For us to do labor for 12 people, for them to process every single aspect of labor, it's $50 a month. For 12 employees, 2 paychecks a month, everything. They do everything. Quarterlies, every single thing. They do workman's comp, everything about it for $50 a month. And it's one of the best accountant firms here. I looked them up with the Better Business Bureau and any other thing I could find out. I looked and seen if there was any criminal records and all that kind of stuff with the people working there. The guy running it, I should say. But, that's your option. That's what I would recommend, honestly. I do have an accountant. I do recommend everybody, at least if you can't find a free one, pay for a one-time hour-long consultation. Cost you maybe $100 or something, but you'll get all your questions answered. Make them out ahead of time. Don't wait to get into the room to ask the questions. Write them out on a piece of paper and come in there. Make sure you've researched what you want to know so you're asking the right questions. I had everything. I hammered them right off. We had extra time because I hit up all the questions that I had right off the bat. I want to know if he's any good. I want the questions answered. He's going to answer them if he wants your service. That's my take. Bob, yes, you're probably right. I'm going to go into that because I've looked into that on some other topics like Weebles and things like that too. I won't go into big detail here, but I got your full gist on that from that email. I'm going to probably use that. I haven't dug into what your information was that you sent, but I'm going to do it. You'll see it all broken down, and I'll do some numbers. I'll give you all the figures at the end on searching on eBay nowadays. It's bad when I get buyers telling me they couldn't find this or that and things like that too. It does help to some extent if you're a bigger seller because your items are more likely to show up just by sheer quantity and volume. But for the little sellers, it's broken with the item specifics in my opinion. I think they're lost. I think they don't know what's going on, in all honesty. Again, I'm not trying to bash them, but I think it's just purely poor decision making by who's running it. Again, opinions, this is my opinion. I don't think they have a clue, though. I have no faith and never did from the minute they hired the new CEO, again, because of Nook and what he did to Nook. But, look it up. You can look up his name and type in Nook. See what he did. No one should have hired him. I don't get it. But anyway, that's just my opinion. If you're enjoying the conversation, please hit that like button. We're at 159 people in-house. I got 49 likes. If you're really enjoying it, please hit the like button. It does help the channel. It does give us a little boost there. Let me pop back down here. Hang on, I think I just lost something. I'm going to go into that, Bob. I'll give you credit. You're the one who brought that topic up with the Elliot. So much added sugar to foods. Hosted Taiwan students once. They couldn't eat U.S. food. Way too sweet for them. Even pizza made me aware of it. Sugar isn't everything. Yes. The only sugar I try to eat now is if it's like in fruit or something. If it's already in there, I don't try to get anything with extra stuff in it. I do feel better. I don't, it's weird because I've always had sugar. I've always, been an addict to sugar, but now I'm like, I can work a mile a minute, and I'm looking ahead, and anyway, I don't want to dwell on that all day. Crowd lazy reseller, love eBay, but it's hard with eBay bugs this last week. Sold search not working correctly. Default shipping not defaulting. And today shipping not updating eBay that I shipped stuff. Yeah, I've seen some of those recently as well, too. There's more errors now and more issues like that now than I've ever seen in my entire life. I could probably add up the last 10 years, and I've seen more of this sort of thing in the last year than the last 10 years, in all serious honesty. The only other major mix-up was when they lost tens of millions of photos and couldn't do anything for anybody. They totally lost them. They didn't even acknowledge it for days. They didn't. All we got was, I think, a couple hundred free listings that you had to use in 3 days. That was compensation for some sellers taking hours and hours and hours out of their day trying to get their photos back, because you're supposed to have more than one. I mean, it was crazy. Of course, they weren't going to admit it. And of course, they weren't going to do anything for us. It took them days. I mean, days to admit to that. Yeah, you get out of it what you put into it, Susan. Very correct. Very correct. I don't mind working hard. I am seriously motivated by the growth, I guess. Once you see success coming in from this, success makes more success, I guess you can say. Once you see success here and doing this or figuring that out, you're going to be more excited. You're going to see some return on your investment. This is an investment. If you're just starting off as reselling, you're at ground zero. You're starting off from scratch. You may be worried. You may be nervous. You may not know if you're going to be able to do this. But once you start to have sales come in, excuse me, once you start to have sales come in and things like that, and you're seeing a return on all the time and money you've invested, it gets you going in my book. You know, I always have a vision. I know where I'm going. I know what I want out of this. I know what I want for 5 years down the road. I know what I want for 10 years down the road. Things will change through this time frame. eBay may change, Etsy, Facebook, whatever I'm doing is going to change, but I still have the same basic goal, where I want to be, what I want to do, what we plan on expanding in our business and things like that too. I've talked about some of the other stuff I do. We're literally, this Christmas, I'm having action figures. 100%. We've already got something signed for that. There's just opportunities galore out there. Let's just put it that way. And unless you're going to be willing to try it or attempt it, you'll never know if you can do it. You know, motivation, again, should be the success. Failures can be motivation too, because it make you want to work harder to actually succeed at doing this. Once you get a little taste of success and you see that reselling can actually pay your bills, I would hope to think that most people out there would be doubling down on their efforts to get it even better. Once we first hit a mark after 3 or so years of doing this full time, where, wow, we're finally up to the point where the bills and this and that, we figured out how to do this, we figured out how to do that, we figured out the ins and outs of this niche or that niche or clothing or whatever the case may be. I mean, it was just a bigger boost than anything you could imagine, and it's just grown from there. I mean, the motivation, not wanting to give up on this, is obviously a big, huge factor. Paying the bills, putting a roof over my wife's head, the kids' heads, you know, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. I can't speak enough about that, because I've done it all. You've done it all. Whoever's out there is a reseller, you've done it all. This is your own baby. This is your own business from start to finish, from every step of the way. You're doing it. And it is all, honestly, it's a huge motivational factor to me to know that the amount of revenue coming in through what I'm doing was all by us. You know, from just scratching our way through it, you know, from the bottom of the rung all the way up to where we're at now. I'm not rich. I don't care to be rich. That's not what this is about, I would say. If that's all you want, fine. But for me, it's just the freedom. Freedom is really, I think, the biggest thing these days. Freedom to spend your time how you want. If I want to make more money, I just work a little more hours. That's it. That's all I got to do. That's all I have to do is work a few more hours a week. If I want more money out of it, I don't want to make as much, or I got enough in the bank right now and I want to take some time off, I can do that too. You know, it's all in your hands. You control your life at this point. I know to some extent you're confined by the platforms, but in the big scheme of things, even big corporate America is confined to rules and regulations. They have more than us even. So, you know, I'm fine working within the confines of the system as it is right now. I'm making fine money. things are going in the right direction. Again, it depends on how much effort you put into it. As Susan said, I've put a lot of effort into this, all my effort. I'm not a slacker. I don't take anything for granted. And that's another thing. A lot of people take things for granted. Just because it's going good today doesn't mean it will keep going in the same direction. So you've got to be hammering it from day one, and not letting go. My foot's floored. My foot is down on the pedal the entire time I'm here working. When it's time to quit, I'm done. The only thing I think I do after hours is maybe accept an offer or something. But that's about it. I always try to accept an offer or counter immediately if I'm available, because somebody else may have the same thing up. You want to be the one that's working harder and faster than the other folks. You're going to get the sales first. That's just my take on it. But Susan is right, though, on that. Very true. Let's go slide down here. Mike's Messy Room. I have 270 items on eBay and sell on average 3 a day. Should I get an eBay store? Don't look at it by quantity. Look at it by how much it's costing you. If it's costing you more money to have no store, and it's cheaper for a store, get the store. Just figure it out by math. Calculate how much you're paying per individual listing a month, and then calculate how much it would cost you if you had the next store level up or a store. It's monetary. The only reason you should have to worry about that is looking at the money. If you save money by going to a store, go to a store. You also get some benefits going to a store, so you've got options to do stuff that's only available in the hub. Like certain levels of stores have business policies where you can auto send things out. It has the automation aspect where you can automatically leave feedback, which is what I've done for years. I never have to leave manual feedback ever. Things like that are excellent. Vacation modes, all the aspects of like the marketing tab for those who do markdowns and sales and things like that. That's all available having a store. If it's a $5 store, $20 store, in all honesty, if that's all you had to pay was $20 a month and you could have hundreds of listings and all the services, that wouldn't be terrible, with that stuff. The store is worth it for the lower levels when you're first getting in, just for the extra added services you can get that are available only in the hub. I'm not trying to promote eBay, but that's the truth. The services that the hub offers do give you enough options to be able to do some stuff with your store. If they just left them alone, that's eBay's biggest problem. They just mess with stuff. They don't know. They don't sell. They don't know the categories, and that's what happens. It gets screwed up by that. I had a video yesterday about item specifics and how much it's cost us a lot of money to add item specifics, and we got nothing out of it. Sales went down on the items that we listed, added the recommended item specifics. Sales went down. And we're talking, I did 4,000 items with item specifics, and I left 4,000 that I didn't add the recommended. And the ones that I didn't add had far more sales. Statistically wise, it's definitely a thing that if you add some of the item specifics to the items that we're selling, they won't sell as well. The eBay can't tell me otherwise, because I've got 4,000 to 4,000. We did half of them. We had 8,500 listings with recommended item specifics. The math doesn't lie. The statistical odds of 4,000 automatically selling more for any other reason other than that is so far out of whack because of the percentage difference. As far as I'm concerned, it's a thing. So something is broken, Bob. Back to Bob for a second there, with the searching of it. And it's obviously tied to how they're setting it up for the item specifics. I had people telling me for jeans these days, there's 3 spots you have to put the sizes in. 3 different spots. I don't remember if that was counting the title as one of the spots, but that's crazy. For me to just have to re-put in the title of a movie when it's already in the title of my item, to have to put it into another subcategory is crazy too. If they type in the name of the movie in a search box, it should show them anything tied to that movie. They shouldn't have to then type in or click a secondary item specific to further go to the same movie that the results should already show them. I know how it's supposed to work, but it just doesn't seem to be the case. I know exactly what Bob's talking about with all the crazy search criteria. I'll dig into it. You'll see a video on that, and I'll be very thorough. I'll spread it all out. I'll give you some numbers. You'll get to see the results of it step by step. If I'm wrong on that, I'll admit it. But I really think that there's some major issues with what I've personally seen in front of my own eyes with how searches show up. I can put specific words in and stuff not show up, but I put one or two words in, and the item I was looking for, all of a sudden he's there. It's totally broken somewhere. I don't think they have a clue. Um, Flippin' in Ohio saying too many of their most popular items have no views. They might just not be showing the views. It could be a glitch where the views aren't posting. We don't know. That's the whole point. We just have to trust eBay that they're being honest. And from criminal charges against multiple eBay members, I don't know how much I can trust the upper management's honesty at all. You know. Let's see here. Carl the Lazy Reseller. For me, it's about defining processes. Burning yourself out is a good way to fail. Yeah, I don't burn out. That's the thing with me. I'm into this so much that I'm obsessed with it. I was talking to Don, Primetime Treasure Hunter, about that the other day on, I think, his show. Maybe it was on my show. I don't remember what we had a show together. And I would say I am honestly addicted and obsessed with listing and selling on eBay and running online stuff. I get excited. I sold something today. It was a piece of paper I've had for 2.5 years. I forgot I even had it. It sold for $125. I got $1 into it. I even went back and looked. And it's stuff like that. I was right on it. The price, I might even be able to get more money out of it. I don't care that it was up for a couple of years. That was exciting to know that something that I picked. I don't even remember where I got it anymore. It's so long ago. But it's stuff like that makes my day. I get a good thrill out of that. A pamphlet. It's a pamphlet for like a 20s movie theater company, a company that made movies. But it was really interesting. I was really surprised. Maybe I'll show it in a video too. But Shazam Stickle. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Not trying to butcher your name. Agree, not easy. Have lots of stuff left over that someone said would sell. Thanks. With a lot of stuff too, I buy stuff that people say, oh, you'll never sell that, or that they say, oh, there's a bunch of those and this and that. I don't just sell them on eBay though. Unless you're on multiple platforms, I guess it may be a little harder to get the drift on some of this stuff. But a lot of items I'll take a chance on because I know I can sell them on more than one site, and things tend to sell more so better on other sites. More so better, I've broken English, but sell better on other sites sometimes. And with some of the new changes, I've had people tell me their Macari sales have doubled, and Bonanza's been doing better for some people and things like that too. So I think Bonanza's got some new big promotion coming out. I don't do Bonanza. I've tried it once before, but the point is, broadening your reach is going to help you in my book for a lot of these things here. Let me go back to where we were at. But it's not easy. Definitely no. Yeah, eBay's never going to fix it at the rate they're going. Buta Sounds. I don't watch TV. Yeah, so I don't do the TV game anymore. I don't watch videos or anything really. I'm literally just in my own little game world here doing my stuff. Now, music's a different story. Most of the time, there'll be 3 or 4 laptops or monitors running at any given time around here, so I'm always hopping around and doing something. TV is not though on. If it is on, it's in the background and I'm not watching it. I don't get anything out of most television shows these days. Just truthfully, the only time I watch anything like that is a family movie night. That's about it. I don't miss it. I don't miss any TV shows. There's nothing that I really was watching before that. I like Rick and Morty, so maybe when the new Rick and Morty comes out, I might spend the 22 minutes or whatever it is to watch those episodes once a week, but that's about it. Again, I'm getting older. I got kids. I've got some medical issues now these days, piling up left and right. They seem. I've got a child with permanent heart-related issue. Things happen, I'm not going to sit back and let the world pass me by, it seems some days, by not putting in the effort and the time. I've gotten that taste of years back, and I just want more of the growth, and I want more of this. I want more, and I want my business to grow. I want my revenue to grow. I want to be secure when I retire. I don't want to be doing this, having to pack up boxes when I'm 90 or something. I want to do it now as all the hard stuff. So I've got the base. Even if I'm still selling later on, I'll have it all set up. I'll have tons of items and all that stuff too. This takes time. 10 years to get close to 30,000 in the store. I think I share with you. It's 10 years. But again, I sell constantly. So it's you're fighting the battle of selling items and trying to keep new items put up on the site, If you list every single day of the week, even if it's a handful, you do seem to come out better. So, again, if you haven't hit the like button, I've got 87 likes, and we just broke 201 in-house right now. So if you're enjoying the conversation, please hit that thumbs up on the conversation here. Let's get back to a few more comments here. Yeah, TV is a time killer. I would fully agree. TV is definitely a time killer. So eBay spoke, Marty saying he spoke with eBay, and there's a known issue with sold items not being deleted after selling. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I got so many listings. If that happens, it would be kind of hard. They've been denying that for years and years and years. I can point you to comments and even letters, screenshots and stuff where eBay says that's not happening. Just FYI, I keep that stuff. So if I say something, they can't come back and say it didn't happen. I usually try to keep proof, even months, even for my first few videos, just because I don't want them trying to come after me like they have come after other people. And here's Shazam saying as well, yeah, I had no views after several hours today on popular brand. Linda, been on eBay since 1999. It's all what you put into it, and you have to enjoy it. Yeah, eBay has changed a lot, though, too. And that's, again, why I say if you're not on multiple sites, all the traffic for all the items that I sell were only going to eBay when I first started out. It was the only place to get these stuff. It was the only place to find them. And now as there's more sites out there, not everybody puts their stuff on eBay. So since stuff is now selling on multiple sites, the amount of stuff on eBay that was selling is obviously down for these items because they're now spread out over 5 platforms, 6 platforms. And to get that revenue, to get that stream back up to the 100% mark, you as well have to be on sometimes all of those platforms. Certain people get frustrated with eBay, or certain people don't want to give eBay information, or they only want to pay this way, or they don't like the functionality. They don't like how the searches are on eBay or any other site. So some people only buy stuff on Etsy. Some people refuse to do this or refuse to do that. So that's what I'm saying. Having multiple options and multiple places to put your items on is a huge plus to getting your business to grow. And that's, again, why a thing like Shopify, I know there's other sites. I'm not trying to say Shopify is the only answer. For me, it's the answer I'm using. But the point of it is, if you can get a centralized landing spot for you, nobody has to see it. You don't even have to use it for a site, but that keeps your items in sync. That's what you need these days. In the past, most people, had to pay some horrendous amount of money, or they had to manually pull stuff down. Once you auto sync stuff and you get your stuff onto different sites, it pulls it down when it sells on one site, so you're not double selling it. That's the biggest hurdle that most people are going to face if they go to other sites, is taking something down. But again, once you have the software and you get it all situated, it's like it's a perpetual engine almost. It's going to keep on going on its own, basically. I know people who have had big stores and they've used Shopify, and they've used the Shopify sync options for a decade or so, or maybe not a decade, 8 years or so. So, I mean, it works. I've seen it work. I've used it. I know there's other ones. What's the big Wahoo or Wahoo Commerce? There's a bunch of them. Somebody even brought up one of those the other day. Let's see here. Hang on, let's see here. Bat Gamer Show. Let's see what we got going down here. With this business, you have to have consistent people. Don't understand that you have to do 10x work yourself. Yeah, it's you're doing all the work. You're sourcing, you're listing, you're photoing, you're packing up, you're shipping, you're getting your tax paperwork together, you're filing everything. You got to do it all. It's not, everybody isn't made out to do it all. Some people, it just won't be their thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I never thought this would be a possible full-time thing, but I'm making more now than I ever have. I'm making more now than I did when I was a regional manager handling over $11 million in store revenues. And that's insane. That's crazy. That motivates me, just that thought, because I know how hard I worked and how much I made. I made six digits. I can't say I didn't, but I made six digits working for the last one as a regional. But I never had any time. I couldn't spend it. I couldn't leave. I couldn't do this. Sometimes I had to fly, and I had to work here and work there, and there's just so much to it, and I was at the whim of some other people. I had to help this person or that person to store it and do what they're supposed to. Then I'm the one who gets screwed to help them out. And, it's stuff like that it's like night and day what you deal with working for somebody versus what you're doing on your own. Yeah, it may be more aggravating to many people, but if it's your thing, you're going to do great at it. That's all I can say. Kevin O'Leary, and I don't bring up many people, but sometimes I'll listen to a few of his videos in the background. I don't watch them, but they'll just play in the background as sometimes motivational. He's got a number, and I've seen it from somebody else too. 30% of people is about the max that will be able to handle this sort of thing, running their own business. The other 70% from most statistical averages, even from like Harvard and things, some of the reports and things I've seen personally, that's a legitimate basis. 30%, so 3 out of 10 people will flourish doing this, and the other 70% may not. And I'm not trying to tell anybody they're going to be the 70% or anything like that. It again comes down to what you put into it. Just because you watch a video and they tell you you're going to sell 50 pairs of jeans today and that's all you got to do to make a living, don't believe all that. Don't believe it. Again, there are some good courses. There are some great channels out there, I'm sure, that offer you good information and ways to do certain things. But there's no rhyme or reason to stuff like that unless you're a national company with hundreds of stores. There's just no way to dictate it. Now, I can dictate a value, but I can't dictate anything other than that. I can say if I've got so many items up and I'm going to sell so many dollars worth of items every day, that's about an average. But I can't tell you I'm going to sell 50 of this or 100 of that. I know my levels. I know my volume. I got quantity. I've got mass quantity. And again, that's the only way I can make it work for me. I know there's other people who can make it work different ways, but again, you don't have to do my plan. You don't have to do what I talk about. No guarantee what I do is going to help you. I can't promise that. I wished I could, but I can't. It's work. It's work. It's hard work. And nobody who quits gets that, I guess. I don't know. Not trying to criticize anybody, but Sunday Fun Day, Pamela Saban, how are you doing? You can always rewatch it. Better late than never, they always say. Beauty Sound, yes, remembering my bad bosses give me motivation for sure. I had some bosses that, my first day on there they were talking to managers and stuff. I was a trainee, and there was a couple other assistants who'd been in the store for a while, and the general manager came in. And I was talking. He didn't say, he wasn't just talking to one person. He was talking. I threw idea out there, and he just went off on me. I never asked advice from you, and you're just new. You don't know nothing. He just went off. I mean, he was just totally an a-hole. I hate to say it, in front of a bunch of people. I literally felt like walking off right then. But I had a kid. I had a child. I couldn't do that. But that's the type of thing I've seen in real life, and there's a lot of those out there. Kind of reminds me like a mean version of Gordon Ramsay when he's yelling at people. But Gordon Ramsay is nice compared to some of the chefs I've seen in real life. Some of the Disney chefs, they wear the tall hats. You're talking the massive tall hats. You always can tell what kind of chef they were at Disney. But the high-up chefs were just, if they liked you, you were great. But if they didn't, they were just an a-hole to you. Even the managers at Disney, the chefs controlled what happened in a restaurant, the head chef. So if he walked into a restaurant, even the general manager listened to him. So I learned who to take orders from and how to stay in the good graces of the right people back in those days. Nicholas Trace, I've been putting in all day, most of night, and it is fun. Again, you've got to... Watching the money roll in, I don't know. That's always thrilling. Watching stuff that's neat and interesting sell is always fun to me. Back in the day, that's what people used to do. They used to watch the last few minutes of an auction to see where they ended at. It used to be a fun thing to do. For me, it's still fun to watch stuff sell. Sometimes, if it's I'm sitting down here and working, I might, if I run an auction, I very rarely do, but I'll watch the last 10 minutes of it. I still do that occasionally. It'll be on in another laptop or something. It's enjoyable to see what they end at. especially when it's like $10 an hour before, and at the end of the day it ends up like $1,400. Those are always thrilling. Just like finding like a record that's worth a couple $1,000. Those are always thrilling days. It satisfies my need for finding something cool and rare for a good month or two. It's always a thrill. And then I always remember those titles. I've never forgotten a record that I've sold for over $500. I always know it if I see it again. Always. Let's pop on down here. Hang on, my feed just froze. There we go. Kelly Kamier. Horrible job, suck. Working for myself has been fun. Again, you got to be into this. You've got to be into this to make it work, in my opinion. You can't just be doing this because you have to. If you've got to do it because you have to, you're not going to enjoy it, and your motivation is going to be gone really quick. You're going to be drained of all motivation. And again, that's not work to me. I don't care if I'm down working 70 hours or doing stuff like that. It's not work. I do enjoy it. Everybody thinks I'm a workaholic, but I like it. I'm addicted. It's fun. It occupies my time. It's my hobby and job all in one, I guess. To me, that's exciting. Well, thank you, David. Jaba? Hopefully I pronounced that right, but I'm sure I butchered it. Sometimes my pronunciation of some names aren't so good. Yeah, everything's educational about this. I don't mind researching because I learned something. I enjoyed college. I enjoyed the research, trying to figure out stuff, trying to figure out what the meaning of something is. And it's a thrill to know that you answered a question or you figured it out. That's how I see it. I think growing up with money is a huge advantage. I learned how to understand and use money from my well-off parents. My poor friends growing up hard to unlearn. So, no, we didn't. I'll take that the other direction because my family never had a lot of money, and I learned the value of money, and earning it is hard. And that when you do have it, you don't waste it. I didn't have money, so if I wanted something, I had to work for it. My parents didn't buy it for me. So for me, I would say it was the opposite way around. I'm glad I didn't have the money as well, especially with my family. Again, I'm not trying to criticize anybody. It's just my personal, how I feel about it. There's nothing wrong with anybody else's thoughts, but I'm glad we didn't have a lot of money when we had our kids, because we're such a close family now because of that. And we've always been tight-knit. Everybody thinks we're weird, but we know each other very well, and we're a tight-knit family because of that. But with not having money, and if I wanted a toy or something, I didn't get it. My parents couldn't afford it, and they saved up all year just to go on vacation once a year. And then we did what we had to. We might have stayed in a not so nice hotel, but did something cool. So I've always understood the value of money, and my take on it. I haven't never been a spendthrift because you don't have it. I feel a lot of people who don't have money understand the value of it because they don't have it. They can't just get it. You have to earn it. It's hard work, and if you worked really hard to get the money, you're not just going to want to blow it out the window. That's how I take it at. I'd rather work hard and save it up and have it than not. Again, everybody has a different take on it, so that's no offense to anybody at all. But that's my personal take on that one, Carl. I understand the value of money because I had to earn it. If I wanted a new shirt, I had to earn it. My car, I had to pay for since day one. They helped me get it, and if I messed up or didn't go to work or couldn't pay it, then I was in trouble. So I understood. I paid it off. I did what I had to do, and I never had the benefit of having the money. My parents didn't. They did what they had to do. It's just the way it is. Let's see here. Paul Carl, flipping and collecting. You got to love the hunt, the listing, and the packing, shipping if you want to be successful on your own. Otherwise, you better suck it up. Yeah, that's about it. You don't even have to hire somebody. There's a lot of people that make a good amount of money on their own. Obviously, if you've got the ability to get the merchandise and not list it, hiring somebody is obviously a good push. When we brought people in, our numbers started to rise very quickly. And it quickly, the first week, paid for itself and then some, like 10 times over, because of the increase in amount of stuff we were able to list. I know that's a scary thought, bringing somebody new in and hiring somebody, but at some point you may need to do that. I can tell you for sure. Talk to an accountant. Have them handle it. You don't want to be dealing with workman's comp issues. I can tell you right now. If I have an issue, everything is right there. It's already handled for me. They take care of the majority of it. I might have to appear in court or something, but other than that. But that's typical for a workman's comp case. Sometimes they do them on phones these days, but anyway, nothing is really hard. Again, like when I first started this, I thought there's no way I can't do all that. There's no way this, no way that. Like anything I've done, I thought there's no way. Like with college, how am I going to get a master's degree? I thought, but you can figure anything out. I mean, it's not. It's the nervous aspect of starting something new, I guess, is what gets so many people. And I don't care if I look like a fool for a little while, but I'm trying. I don't care anymore. It doesn't bother me if I mess up something and have to do it over. It's a learning experience, and if I don't try it, I'll never know. I'll never get there, or never finish, or never do what I want to do if I don't try it. And just trying something. I put in the paperwork for my doctoral degree in American Cultural Studies, BGSU. Maybe I won't get in. I don't know, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to see what happens. Maybe it'll be a long run, maybe not. Who knows? But the point is, I never thought I would get anywhere. I wouldn't even have a degree in college in general. Yeah, I'm not using it now to that extent, but it made me a better person. I know more. I'm better understanding of things. The business classes were excellent, very helpful. Economics classes, very helpful. The history classes, very, very helpful for what I sell. Everything about it was helpful overall for a business aspect of it, So, don't ever let anybody tell you can't do something. I guess that's the point of it. Because if I listened to people again, I wouldn't be anywhere. I'd still be working for Joe Schmo or some awful job, getting up early in the morning and coming home with whatever they decided to pay us. I mean, this is totally different. The whole aspect is motivation, in my opinion, on its own. The aspect that I can make more money if I just put in a little more hours. That's it. I can't do that anywhere else. They don't pay overtime hardly anywhere these days. Anyway, full complosion. There you go, Annie. That's it. Know every word to that song. That's a good song. Do leather postcards have value? Yes, Elaine. It depends on the postcard. Just like any postcard, if it's from like Harvard or something, or from a city or something, or a specific building, or an advertisement, it's going to do better. Most typical leather postcards, like $4 or $5, I guess, on average, for just the cheapo ones. So most of them you'll get a couple bucks for either way. If they're not worth a bunch on their own, I usually sell them like 3 or 4 in a lot. They do fairly well. Kelly, helps to be shopaholics. I wish I could be a shopaholic because I love going out. Now, if I'm out sourcing, or when I'm ever lucky enough to go out sourcing like normal sourcing, I do buy stuff because I like it. So I am a shopaholic in that aspect. But targeted sourcing, I don't have the random options to buy, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, either way you want to look at it. I'm just literally doing a lot of research, trying to find specifics, and that's usually what I go for these days. Again, I'm trying to cut down time, and around here, randomly driving around is a time killer. I wouldn't make enough money sourcing locally at most any day of the week because it's just terrible around here. I mean, I haven't seen anything quite this bad for thrift stores or garage sales and stuff like that in years. It doesn't seem to be necessarily just because of the pandemic, because it was bad before it, but thrift stores have been horrid lately around these. I just literally gave up. I love going to them, don't get me wrong. Yeah, but it probably does help to be a shopaholic. Laura, no, Laura B, yeah, I'm a music nut. I'm very much into music. I've got like 2 terabytes of MP3s. I love music, so I'm really into it. For me, I'm motivational. If I'm going to a hall or I'm going to pick up something, chances are I've got the windows down and I'm blaring something on the radio. I feel like I'm just out not for a free ride on the weekend doing whatever I want. That's what it feels like. Even though I'm going to do some work, I'm going to pick up something. I'm always excited. What am I going to find? What cool item's going to be worth some money that I pick up today? Every day I could pick up something, but I don't really need to, Let me pop on down here. We're going to cut it off in just a few moments here. I think I'm frozen again. Yeah, I'm frozen. I don't know if I'll know where we're at. Hang on, let's see. It won't open up anymore. Oh, there we go. Now it bopped way down. Just a second. Let's see if I can find out where we were at. That might be hard. Yeah, hang on. I think I'm close. Oh, okay. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words control you, I think. I can't read the whole thing. Sorry, my vision's not that good. Only sell books, but feel the same. I never feel like I am working. The stuff in history I come across every day is amazing. Same thing here. I love anything vintage, historical. I get really excited. I mean, it makes my week, my month sometimes, one little item. And to somebody else, it may seem stupid, but when I scored some Revolutionary War buttons, man, I was really excited. That really made my month. I mean, it's something I've never had before that I've always wanted, and I'm able to sell some and keep some, which always makes it even more fun. Flipping in Ohio, yeah. If you don't list, you are not a reseller. You are unemployed. Beauty sounds. Gotta tend to all three. It's tough to be because you hunt is so fun. Yeah, hunting is fun. Don't get me wrong, but I really rarely do it. I rarely do it. I'll have to do a video one of these days just to do it. Anyway, Sandra Baldwin, what is my best seller as of lately? Buttons, without a doubt. 1,000 a week, maybe more on an average week. And I don't even have hardly any up. I mean, I'll probably do a video just to show you the quantity that I have listed versus what's in back inventory, because it's insane. Buttons though. Yesterday we did 370 maybe. I sold 2 for 70, and 1 for 55 to the same person. Maybe more than that. It's probably 470 in buttons yesterday, I would say. Just yesterday, and just in uniform buttons. Just uniform buttons. Not counting any other stuff we sell. But buttons have been incredibly hot for us. Again, I got a huge selection, but buttons have been hot. Sheet music I've been selling quite a bit of. Paper in general. I mean, I can't speak enough for paper. Photos have been selling. I had somebody buy 3 photos just today all to themselves. Another person bought 2. Another person bought 1. 8x10 military photos too. I've been dwindling those down. I need to list some more actually soon. Yeah, let's just get to 1 or 2 more and we'll cut it off here because I know I always talk too much. Backgamer Show, what do you recommend on connecting eBay store to Shopify store? How do you bring the traffic to my Shopify store? Thanks. Okay, well, this will be the last one here. With Shopify, you can use eBay's API channel in Shopify. You go to the App Store in Shopify, and you can just download it or add it in for free. I think the eBay one is free. But it only does like 12 categories, and it at the time I looked at it last time, it did not do make an offer. And that's a large chunk of my sales, so I don't do that. I'm using InkFrog. So I hook up InkFrog to eBay first. And it will import all of my listings and save them. I can do all kinds of stuff in InkFrog, and then I can connect my InkFrog to eBay. So my InkFrog to Shopify. I'm sorry. And then if say I want to hook up Amazon to my Shopify, I just use the Amazon channel. And if it's items that don't link up or don't sync up with Amazon, you can CSV file them up to Amazon, and then you'll have to go back in and map them. But it's not that long of a process to do, even like 1,000. A couple hours you can have it all done. 1,000 listings you can CSV file up to Amazon, and in a couple hours you can have them all hooked up, linked, and synced with Shopify. I know that for sure. I've seen it, done it. It does work, but it does take a little bit of time. Once it's done, though, once you invest the hours, it's already there. They're there for good. You know, you're not paying extra for Amazon. You're not paying any extra for the Shopify aspect. eBay, the same thing. So there's no extra money involved in it. But it's extra views. It's 1,000 more listings. So that's how I'm doing it. Now, if you only want like Amazon and eBay, those are the only 2 you want to deal with, you can just use InkFrog. InkFrog will either go eBay InkFrog to Amazon or eBay InkFrog to Shopify. Those 2 options it will do. Just those 2. You can't do multi-channels as of yet. But who knows? They've been talking about it for a while, InkFrog. Maybe if InkFrog offered the options is the same thing as Shopify, maybe I would just do InkFrog. I don't know. The only thing with Shopify is you can get an app there. You can go to the App Store. There's like thousands of apps. You can get one that does anything you want for your store. So you can do the taxes, email, whatever you want. You can have it through an app on there. You can have all your taxes added. You can hire a service to import, and just a ton of stuff can be done through there. The actual import for your items into InkFrog was easy. The actual import from InkFrog into Shopify took a little getting used to, but once you figured out what you need to do, it was fairly easy. InkFrog, though, was the option again because of the items or the make an offer option. I need that. I'm not going to give that up. If eBay changes it, maybe. Oh, and the other thing is, if you go and you're just using Shopify and you create a listing that's going to go to eBay, it's a Shopify listing. It's not technically an eBay listing. So to actually do anything to that listing after you, let's say you don't want Shopify anymore, you close up Shopify and you still want those listings, you can't do it. You have to go in there and, you have to go in there and, you have to redo them. You have to hit sell similar to every single one of those listings if that's the case on there. It's just the way it is. So if you close down Shopify, you're screwed. All the listings you created in Shopify for eBay aren't any good. But if you do with InkFrog, even if you created the listing in InkFrog, it's still a regular listing on eBay. So if I shut off InkFrog, my eBay is right the way it was before. There's no difference in it. You can always even tell which ones are InkFrog because InkFrog, all the InkFrog listings create a custom SKU line specifically, and it'll look like an eBay ASIN number almost, which it creates for it and posts it to that listing. So you can even tell which ones were done through InkFrog versus the other way too. So just FYI. I'm going to let it go at that. We're going to head on off here. Let me pop over here. Again, I thank everybody for coming on. Again, if you haven't hit the like button, please hop that like button. Please hit the like button. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. Please hit the like button, though, if you enjoyed the conversation. I do appreciate everybody. Hopefully you're having a good day, and I will have another video up tomorrow. Remember, for those in Patreon, live show tomorrow at 6 on Patreon only.